Hello, guys. How are you doing today? My name is Stevie Cooper, and I'm the lead consultant for the Great Audio Company. Today, we're going to be having two series of live mixing sessions. The first of which it is now. Apologies, we apparently my team set up my other YouTube page for this section, so we had been streaming to the other page. It was just noticed, and we had to come back to this YouTube page. So, for those of you who had been waiting, we sincerely apologize. Okay, the first session, which is now, we'll be doing setting up a full mix from scratch to the end, and then our next section by 4:30, we'll be doing live drums. This is a virtual sound check or a virtual mix section. The purpose of this is it stems from the request. A lot of requests I've been getting in my DMs from people within and outside Nigeria um, who wants me to share with them how I got my drums to sound the way it sounded, how I got the vocals, how I got the keys. So instead of having one, you know, back to back talks, I felt okay. We all agreed. Let me do a live session, free live session, where we can just take a song and then rush it through. But before I go there, I would like to show you what I did with the routing. So I'm using the Behringer Wing. It's a fantastic board. Um, and it has 48 input channels, fantastic 16 bus, 8 matrices, 4 main outputs. Now, because the board has 4 main outputs, I usually dedicate one main, either main 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you can see here, it's saying here main 1, main 2, main 3, main 4. No, I dedicate one a singular main to my broadcast line, which is stereo. All channels are stereo, output channels are stereo, or output buses are stereo. So I dedicate that to my broadcast, and then I will show you how I routed it, and we'll just jump into it. Okay, so the first thing I did, you want to know, okay, how did I get the channels routed to the board? It's simple. Because I'm using a DAW, I'm using Studio One 4 on my laptop. I connected my laptop to the console at the back of the console via a USB cable, a USB printer cable. All right, the USB part goes into your laptop. The USB other end goes into the port, the designated port at the back of the wing, closer to the power button where you have the internet port for the Cat5 RJ45. So that's where it goes, not into the RJ45, but the port closer to it. So having done that, you open your door, you will have downloaded the driver for the wing on your laptop and installed it. So you go into your door to your audio interface. You change the audio interface on your door to the wing. All right, once you've connected it. Now, mind you, once you set up the wing or you get the wing power up, you have to come to the setup page here. All right, and once you come to the setup page, you make sure you change this USB audio. All right, sorry, setup page instead of general, you come to audio. Under setup page, you change at the far right below the shutdown button, you see USB audio. Make sure it's in 32 by 32 if you're using 32 channel. If you're using 48, 48 by 48. If you're using 16 by 16, 8 by 8. If it's 2 by 2, then you're just doing the playback. All right, so once you do that, the door will see the mixer, and then you can start routing your channel 1 to channel 1 on the console, channel 2 to channel 2, just like that, up to whatever channel you want. Once you've done that, you come to your routing page. All right, now our routing page on the board, once you select the Behringer Wing routing page, okay, just give me a second here. Fantastic. Now, I think I'll need to zoom a little bit so that you can have a closer view on the page. But basically, I have layered my channels 1 to 20 to 19. Okay, and I'll show you how I went about it. First thing I did was to set everything at 0 dB, okay, so that I know that my faders are all balanced, okay? My fader levels is all okay. And then I also labeled my channels. You can see this is kick in, kick out. I'm trying kick in, kick out today, or I'm just going to bypass it. But the file that I had to use had kick in and kick out. The snare top, snare bottom, but the snare bottom came with noise, right? Once when it was recorded, there was a noise. Then I have high, mid, low, tom, overhead, left and right. Now the thing about the Behringer Wing is that when you route a channel on the console from your stage box or from your device, you can make this singular channel a stereo channel as against the X32 and the M32. You know, once you link the M32, you now lose an additional channel. But with the Wing, you don't need to do that. You can have stereo or mid-side channel on a singular channel faders. All right, good. The only thing that will change or be linked, it will be your source channels that will be linked. That is probably from your stage box or from your USB. It's gonna be linked. All right. So I haven't done that. I came to my routing page. I don't know whether you can see the routing page. And let's go to the channel section. All right. Once you get to the channel section, okay, this is the console. This side of the channel section is the console, all right? And this side is the source group. That means where do you want to get your signal from onto the console, all right? It could be USB audio. It could be W Live Play. It could be AES, A, B. This board has 3 AES port, A, B, or C. All right. Now, it depends on where you're getting it from. Okay. So today, because we're using a USB port to get our signals, you can select USB audio. Once it's selected, I come to channel 1. All right. And it will not link, it will not route except you deactivate, you open this lock sign. It's in red. Once it's in red, no changes can be done. All right. So you have to tap the gray part, and it goes into green. Once it goes into green, mind you, your routing page is active. So anything you do there will affect the channels. So I want from my USB 1 channel, my source, I want to send it to channel 1 on the console. So what I do is select channel 1. If I select channel 2, I'll tap channel 2. Channel 3, I'll tap 3. 4, I'll tap 4, and so on and so forth. Now, the lead vocals there, if I want to add another channel, all I do is tap 20 on the console and go to wherever, say 32, and then assign it to 32. Okay, so on the board, channel 20 is getting its signal from 32 on my door. The same thing goes for the stage box. So once you're using the stage box, if you can move any channel anywhere. You can decide to move your kick drum to channel 32, all right? But you must take note that wherever your source is coming from on its channel strip, like the stage box, the DL32 or S32, you must understand that that source is permanent. You cannot change it except you physically change that. What you can do is pick the source and put it anywhere you want on the console. Okay, so basically that's it. So that makes it simple, and we have our channels, and we're okay and okay. Now, if we come to our overheads, you can see it's linked here, because at the top right, just by the source group block, you'll see MST and M/S. What that stands for is mono, stereo, or mid-side. Now, you want to link 2 channels because I'm getting overheads. 2 channels, 2 microphones are being used for my overheads. So if I don't want to, I'll leave it mono. Okay, you see it's gone. So once you select the channel, if it's a stereo channel from your source, you come and say stereo. For the guitar, I have chosen to use the guitar mid-side, so you can see the mid-side is selected in orange. Okay, so that's basically, once you're done with your routing, you lock it and you come back to the page. So what I'm going to do, the same thing with the output. How did I get my output? I came to my output, which is the last block there at the top, and I plugged the signal cable. All right. I'm using the jack port or the TS 1/4 jacks. I'm using them um, from the aux out, the TS 1/4 jack out, aux out into my audio interface. All right, my Behringer Euphoria 204 HD sound card. So send through USB to my. I'm using the software I'm using is OBS. I'm using to stream to you guys. All right, so I just send stereo channel to the OBS so that you can get a true stereo from or two channels from the console. All right, but I'll do the mixing here, and that's how we run it. So what I did was select 5 and 6. All right, 5 it went into my matrix 1, 6 went into my matrix 1 right, 5 matrix 1 left, 6 matrix 1 right. All the output channels are stereo channels. The matrices, the means are all stereo channels. But you have the choice to turn them to convert them to mono channels. How you do that is, let's come to our output channels, our mean. From mean, you just select here and you just select the block under home, which is your trim and balance, your output section. And look below the meter, you will see mono and invert. You know, if I want to make this channel, the main bus 1, a mono channel, I'll just select and it's now mono. Okay, you can see here the difference. But if I deselect, it's now stereo. Okay, so please take note to that. All right, now that's it for the routing. For the labeling, you select the channel, come to the home page. All right, on the wing, and once you tap the home page here, this top, come to the middle, you'll see overview, Intel, icon/color, name. I put the name that I want, come to the icon, and I can choose yellow, and then, the color, and then the icon that I want, I can choose my kick. All right, but for this purpose, I don't want to use any icon, and I just want to leave it there. So I could just give it colors for the drums, just give it yellow. All our drums for this training will be yellow. And as we go to the next set of instruments, we'll just label them, okay? Good. Our drums is yellow. Now, when we come to our bass, we'll make our bass green, all right? Our guitar, another shade of green. Our keyboards, cyan, all right? And then our vocals, okay, sorry, our bass, yeah, our keyboard and our vocals, let's take it to purple or thereabout. Let's blue. So let's just use this color. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so you can see now we have our channels, we have that assigned, so we know the yellow is for our drums, the green, let's just select the same green for guitars, so we know guitars are green, the keyboards lilac or purple, and then this is blue, okay, whatever color. All right, so we got all that in place, and we got the labeling. Now we've done our fader level. The most important thing you do is to set your gain structure. Okay, in this case, I'm going to leave my gain trim because I'm using USB audio. If I were using the audio stage box, I'm going to have another, gain here, which will be gain. You'll see gain, like gain trim. All right, if you select the channel I'm using to talk, you can see gain. Now, this is the preamp gain. All right, while this is the console gain. Okay, so take note. You have two gains once you route through a device, an external device, or local out. You have the preamp gain and the console gain. All right. Usually, I see people pushing up the preamp gain up to 30 dB, 25 dB. I wouldn't advise that because the preamp gain is very sensitive, and how you set it matters. You could work with your console gain. All right. You could leave your preamp gain at 0 dB and push up your console gain. That's fine. You understand? Or 1 dB, but be a bit more discreet with your preamp gain, because that could really cause surge, or rather distortion on the console, because the digital console works with dBFS full scale. This meter here works with the dBFS full scale. So once you're getting a little bit of orange, too much of orange, you're having a lot of surge and pressure in the system, and that is not good. It's not as resistant as an analog console. So please, let's take note to that, all right? So let's dip into it and see. I'm going to play an audio file by my good friends from Elevation Church that sang it. It was a song by Mr. Nathaniel Bassi, I think, yeah. And we're going to use that just for the purpose of this training. And it was led by my lovely sister, Sisi Oma. All right, so I'll hear her voice after a long time. So let's go. So this is the raw mix. All right, this is what was recorded, the raw file on a disc. Now you can hear the guitar position because I have already linked them. All right, so let's listen now.
The Son of God is lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high.
Oh, the Son of God is lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high.
Oh, Jesus, you are lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high.
Oh, the righteous one, you are lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high. Oh, wonderful and glorious.
Your name is Jesus.
Now, if you listen, what I did here was to set the levels, okay, and then have an even balance in my, without EQing. If you don't have the time to do that, then you can go straight up checking, all right, or mixing, yeah, after your line check. But what I did was to set the levels uniform, all right, for the instruments at let me check. Okay, for the drums, everything is at we have it here at minus 3.5 dB reduction. So all the drums, while the vocals are at minus 6, which is lower, but it's just for the purpose of this training again. Now, based on what you're doing in the live situation, you may choose to do something else. Okay, all right. So let's play it one more time, and then we will now listen and see whether everything is balanced. Then we'll go into the mix. So once you can have that on your raw mix, it makes your work easy. All right, it makes the work easy. It's not basically about levels, you know. It's about it's not basically about turning gain knobs or preamp gain knobs. Preamp is your is where the money is. Once you set a good preamp level, you could start off with minus 18 dB on your preamp gain, all right, or even less depending on the signal coming in. But make sure that there is no the signal is it's not hot at all, you know, and it's not too low. Minus 18 dB max, it's good to start with, you understand, and then you can build on every other thing from there. Please take note that gain levels, you understand, and volumes are all going to be added to get your final output. So don't be too much in a hurry to just push up your preamp gain. You understand? Just crank it up. You understand? Then once you get to the fader, you have to drop the fader, but then the signal that is coming through is already hot. You know, so keep it clean, keep it nice, no distortion in your source audio. You understand? And then gradually you can raise up your fader or your DCAs or whatever you've chosen to use. But for this purpose, I'm going to use the channels, and I'm going to use DCAs, possibly subgroup or something like that. But let's see how we go with it. Okay. Now I've used Matrix 1, left and right, for my stereo broadcast. That's what you are hearing. So let's play the song again, and then we'll take it up from there.
Then sacrifice to our God as we extol your name. The Son of God is lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high.
Oh, the Son of God is lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high.
Oh, Jesus, you are lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high.
Oh, the righteous one, you are lifted high.
The Son of God is lifted high.
So we can hear now that, you know, our voices are in the center, our lead is in the center, kick and snare, bass, guitar is on the left, stereo keyboard is coming out. So let's play, let's move it a bit forward and hear.
The Son of God is glorified.
So if you listen to the general mix that is going on, the raw mix, you find out that there's a guy that is a bit louder than others in the vocals. So I'm going to mute every other thing. Every other thing, and only the vocals, and let's play it.
Resurrected Lamb of God is glorified.
The Son of God is glorified.
Now, I have found the guy that is going, so what I could do, two options. I could reduce his
The
gain.
Son of God is glorified.
The Lion and the Lamb, you are
Now,
glorified.
this is where it's wrong.
Son of God
If I
is
reduce
glorified.
his gain, preamp gain or channel gain, he's going to lose signal on his monitor if it's a single mix.
That's right.
So we are assuming that we're using only, for those of you that have only a single mixer in your church, we are working with broadcast, monitor mix, and front of house. So if you touch your preamp gain or your console gain, you're going to lose the same level on your monitor. So don't go there. You could bring this down a bit.
We call you Jesus, Jesus.
Bring him down and gradually bring it up to his
Son
feeling.
of God is glorified.
We call your name.
Good.
We call your beautiful name. That
All
wonderful
right.
name is
So
Jesus.
we've seen that. Okay, he's sounding fit in the mix. All right. So the next thing we do now is to just gradually pan. There are two ways. I could choose to pan my vocals. You know, I could choose to pan my vocals and just leave them like that. Watch.
The Son of God
Come on.
is glorified.
Somebody lift your hands and give him praise. That is doing so.
Let me-
That wonderful name is Jesus.
The Son of God
Come on.
is glorified.
Somebody lift your hands and give him praise. That is doing his holy name. Hey.
So this is what I could do. There are several ways. The first way, if I want to do subgroup mixing for the vocals, I could then do this. You know, let's see how it works. We'll just jump in before we then go into every other thing. So what I do for subgroup is to come to my bus, select my bus section. That's the fifth button here in the center, and select bus 1. Okay, bus 1, view home. Once I come here below the home button, I select my bus mode, change it to subgroup. All right, good. Now I change it to subgroup. All I need to do is to assign this, okay, the main one, because it's going into my broadcast line, and then bring it up. But then remove all these, deselect all these channels that are going into the main. So what it's going to do is going to bypass the main bus, come through this subgroup before going to the main. All right, so let's play it.
Hey.
So let's open that.
The Lion and the
what? Now, if you listen, let me just mute the lead. If you listen to the vocal, to the singers, we can then start working. So what I could do first is to come to my dynamic processor, compressor, and I'm going to use the LA leveler to control the vocals.
Jesus, the Son of God is glorified.
Okay, so let's try it again.
Is glorified. Oh, wonderful and
So let's remove the compressor. You can see? Okay, now we find out that the compressor helped really control it, right? The next thing I'll do is come to my EQ, and then I could choose to pick those frequencies. That first of all, I'll knock off my low cut or my high pass filter. I'm going to use L24, sorry, L12, and then just, low cut 12. Up to 300 hertz. No, let's come back a bit. Up to 200 hertz. Fantastic. You can see that now. Just simple, beautiful. And then what I need to do, I'm hearing something, so I come around 2K, just before the 2K, 1K5. And then bring up my high frequency a bit.
The Son of God is glorified.
And then just increase my compression a bit. Make up gain.
Wonderful and glorious.
Now, you can hear that. It sounds pretty nice. Okay, so let me...
The Son of God is glorified.
Now, the next thing I could do is to add an effect just to make it wet. Okay. Now, before I do add the effect, I want to pan it a little bit. Now, this is the tricky part. For your front of house, it's not advisable to pan hard left, hard right, and all that stuff. Nah. Because if you have a hall that has a width of, say, 60 or 30 meters, you're going to have a problem, because your those on the far left, at the FOH far left, they're going to hear certain things, certain elements in your mix. Those on the far right, there's a student of mine from the US I was having a talk with, and fantastic guy, and we had this conversation, and I told him, I said, look, it's safer if you put your main buses or your matrices in mono. This board allows you to do that so that everything collapses together, because the audience want to hear the sound coming from the stage, like coming from the main point of, will I say, where your those that are giving the content are. So if this choir is singing, they want to hear from there. They don't want to hear it coming from the side window or not. They want to hear a direct sound that's coming directly to their ears. So what you do is you have to play on their mindset. Have that mono so that all the elements come out through your front of house. In doing that, it's going to enhance the potency of your speaker. All right? Because stereo actually reduces the strength or the energy in the center. And you don't want too much of that. You can have that, but while you pan, because then in that case, only those online, remember, we are using a single console. Only those online would hear the panning definition for the stereo presence, okay? In the live place, you don't necessarily need stereo, because, I mean, someone sitting on the far left, closer to the FOH, what do you think they will hear if you pan, let's say, your hi-hats to the left or to the right? They are going, or your high tom to the left, your mid tom to the right, and your low tom in the center. What you're going to have is they will hear doom, then boom. They can't hear doom, doom, doom. So we need to consider those factors for both the front of house and the broadcast. So I hope I've made that clear. So what we're going to do now is just slightly pan our vocals, all right? I'm just going to pan this. a little bit here, a little bit here, the two in the center, left, slightly right, and that's it. Okay, and then make this wide a bit, and then let's play and see how it reacts.
The Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus.
So, good. So now we have it.
The Son of God
Good.
is
You can.
glorified. Oh,
Now you can have that. You can hear.
glorious Jesus.
You can hear that. You can hear somebody singing in the left, somebody singing in the right. So what we are going to do is check send an effect. All right. To send an effect to the bus, you select your bus. You come to your bus mode and change it to post. All right. For your bus to be a channel for the effect, it has to be changed to post. And then make sure your main on that bus, the bus is assigned to the main. So let's say main 1. All right. So let's leave it at 0 dB. All right. And then later we can bring it out. So we'll assign these vocals to the bus. Is already there. So let's bring it up. Okay. To 0 dBm first, and then let's insert. Because we are not using aux return, so we're going to make our insert post. So you select the second insert on the console, and then come to your processor here, put it on, and then select VSS. Okay, for this purpose, we're going to select VSS effect, and then once you do that, you're good. So let's sing without the effect and with the effect.
Glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus. The Son of God is glorified. Oh,
So we have something around our dump.
wonderful and glorious Jesus.
And our diffusion will come down a bit. And our decay
The
2.1.
Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus.
So let's bring our back slightly
The
back.
Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus.
Okay.
The Son of God is glorified. Oh,
So you see your effect has created a space for your vocals. Okay. You can now work on the parameters of the effect and then see how it sits in the mix. Now that's for the vocals. Let's go to our instruments and then we will come back to our vocals. Let's go to our instrument. That's one way. The other way is to mix all the individual channels, all right, on the vocals and then just send it to your DCAs. That's one way. So if you are in a case where you are not using this board, you're using a single channel, then we can disable the DCA, all right, and then use our channels, okay, on the console. Because there are people who may have like an M32 or X32 and you may not have that luxury, okay? So what we do is we play it. Then you can now work on your instruments, all right? I mean on your vocals. So let's start working with this person. I'll first of all keep it in the center.
The Son of God
Listen to the
is
person talking voice,
glorified.
their speech voice, and their singing voice.
Oh, wonderful
Okay, so this voice is not controlled. There's a little bit of wobble on the note. So in this case, Behringer allows you, Wing allows you to adjust your dynamic processors. So you select the home page. Once you select, come at the lower part, you'll see a spinal sign. Just tap it, it's active. You can move your processors in the order you want. So I'm going to move this compressor up first, my EQ second, compressor up, my EQ second, and gate last. So let's go to compressor and just use the wing compressor. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave her at 4.0 and have about 6 dB gain reduction. Okay. But I'm going to let it compress, not peak. All right, not at the peak. Okay, have the attack as about 60. And then no hold. And then increase my release will be about 120.
The Son of God is glorified.
And then have makeup gain of 3 dB.
Wonderful and glorious Jesus.
Now I like the control. The next thing I mute it and go to the next one. Now this audio was originally recorded and there's distortion already in the mix. So how do we mitigate that? We still switch, all right, to control. The compressor will help you control this situation in a way that you can now get something close to the best. So select, activate the compressor. And then hard knee, maybe soft knee 1. And this time around it's peak, all right, because there's distortion already. So let's move it up till we have about 4 dB gain reduction. And hold, our release will be about 76. And then we have 2 dB makeup gain. Now the reason I'm doing that because I'm hearing the distortion already, all right, and coupled with the fact that the voice, it's a bit, you know. Now you can see them. So what I'll do here is bring this singer down a bit, the lady. Fantastic. So, having done the 2, I come to the next person. Oops. So, this person has a bit of wobble in their singing. So, what I do is just switch it again, compressor, all right, EQ and gate. There's no special way that you must follow. It depends on what, you know, what energy. Now, mind you, the first compressor, the ratio was 4.1. The knee was 3. Attack, the first mic, that's the lady. The attack was 60. I needed transient to pass through. And then hold was 1 millisecond. Release was 123 milliseconds. And my detector was, it wasn't peak. It was at RMS. Okay, the second singer, which is the guy with the distortion, the threshold was minus 42.5 dB, ratio 3.1. I did that because if I had done too much of heavy compression, it will just stifle and squash the already distorted signal. All right, I needed it to control it so that distortion is used at an advantage. The attack is 43. I'll bring it down to 30. Okay, 30 milliseconds. The hold, I'll just remove it, and then the release is 76 because I needed it to release it slightly faster than the ladies. Okay, so let's come to this person. This person will go to 4.1 and hard knee and bring her up, and we'll have a slightly lower gain reduction here. Our attack now will be about 30. Our hold will be 24 milliseconds, and our release will be 120, 117. So let's listen. All right, the sound blended. The essence of this is to get all of them to blend. Cool. So the same thing this time around. I'm not going to use the same pattern because I can listen to a voice. It sounds a bit fuller. So what I'll do is just to set the gate and eliminate, and eliminate any spill, minimize the spill. I don't want the compressor cutting off,
The Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus. The Son of God is
Good. I think I'm okay with that. So the next thing I do is EQ it. Now, what I'm going to do in this case, that she's wobbling at that O, I will look for the frequency and then do a dip on it. The next thing I'll do is to do a low cut up to 200. And then do a cut around the 400 hertz. Narrow my cut. So minus 4.6 dB gain reduction. Then I can compress what I've done. This time I'm going to do knee of 1, and then my ratio is 4.1. Fast attack, fast release. Hold is about 3 milliseconds. And 6 dB gain reduction. And then have my makeup gain 3 dB. So let's listen to them.
The Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus.
So we can hear that. They sound nice. You
The
understand?
Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful.
Fantastic.
and glorious
So we have one more person to go. I think this person is good. So I'm going to start with the compressor just to put it in shape. All right.
The Son
And then
of
cut.
God
There's a
is
shimmer ring in her voice. So let the compressor, yeah.
Wonderful and
Have a 1 again.
glorious
4.1.
Jesus.
So let's see.
The Son of God is
Now our attack will, our detector will be peak. We want the compressor to deal with the peak, yeah. And 1, knee, soft knee. Attack is about 30. Hold is 0, and then our release this time is going to be about 58. So let's see.
Wonderful and glorious
Sweet.
Jesus.
So, but mind you, for this auto singer, we've not touched the EQ. So let's go to her EQ. Remember, I said there was a somewhere here.
Wonderful and glorious Jesus.
Around 3K, we cut it out and then do a low cut on the mic up
The
to
Son of God
180.
is glorified. Oh, wonderful
So let's add the effect and see what it will sound like.
The Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus.
So I want to pan this guy, a little more.
The Son of God is glorified.
So there's a bit of, I need to do a swap on my.
Wonderful and glorious Jesus. The Son of God is
Good.
glorified.
So now you can hear it, and let's.
Wonderful and glorious Jesus.
Fantastic. So for the backup now, we could set a little bit of
The
gate
Son of God
to keep it
is
mild.
glorified.
All right. Attack 0, range is about 22, ratio 1.4, threshold is minus 42.5, hold is 63, and release is about 800.
The Son of
So I'm going to just copy the same thing to all my channels. All right. I'm going to copy them to all the backups.
glorious Jesus.
All right. Fantastic.
The Son of God is glorified. Oh,
So let's do a bit of work on this tenor.
glorious Jesus. The Son of God is glorified.
So what I've done now has given me the balance and the blend in the house. I can still work on the subgroup or whatever. Or I can put it on the DCA and increase it. So if we try a DCA vocals or on the DCA,
The Son of God is glorified. Oh,
so let's see.
and glorious Jesus. The Son of God is glorified. Oh, wonderful and glorious Jesus.
So you can see how the voices fit in the mix, in the backups, all right? So if we were to release our lead,
The Son of God, we cry, you're wonderful and marvelous in all that you do, in all that you are. Take it up, take it up. The Son of God is glorified.
so you can hear. So you need to ensure that you take your time with sound check, let it blend, let it be clean. Once you do that, you can send on fader to the monitor mixes, and then let them be loud enough, clean enough. But the original source has to be clean. The mix has to be clean and sweet and sound better. Okay. Once you're done, we can now come to the instruments. All right. Usually I start with my kick drum. All right, and then I then move on to other things. So let's take it up from there. I'll play it again, and we will know how far we are going. Let me just get the file back to its position, and then we'll take it up from there. So let me play the drum.
Oh, you Jesus.
Okay, so I'm going to pick a point where I can find my drum really coming up. All right. Now, like, remember I said you must have set your gains in place, your preamp gains and all that. Yeah, you must set your preamp gain in place, and once you set your preamp gain and it's okay, you're getting the signal strong enough. For digital consoles, what I shy away from doing is from making my signal here. Once I solo the drums, this yellow I'm getting, nah, not for me. So what I'll do is to go to the input gain and do a bit of cut, just a little bit. Yeah. All right. Just a little bit till I'm getting down to 18 dB. And how do I know? Just before 24. Yeah, I'm good at this. Okay. And then I can work on it. So in this case, the drum is sounding, boxy, it's sounding boxy. It's sounding, you can hear that low end boxiness. So we need to deal with it. How do we do that? Well, listen, you can see when you look on your wing, on your digital console, you'll see the frequency, the spectrum. Now, it's telling you there's a dip around the 100 hertz, 101 hertz, but the energy is so much around 60 hertz. So what do we do to get a good enough? I wouldn't go to the gate for now. I'll deal with the fundamentals on the console. So I do a low cut, and I bring it down to 50 hertz. Yeah. So that helps me deal with the problem about that boominess. All right. I could bring it down to 45, but your kick drum, where is it going at 45? All right. So 50 hertz is good enough because it's the punch that I need. Okay. Having done this, I can activate my EQ. To activate the EQ on the wing, you just press the on button. Once you get to the EQ section, the home page here, EQ, tap on it and just press the on button. To get to the high pass and low pass filter, you look to the far right, you'll see filters, LC, low cut, high cut, tilt. What the tilt means is if I select the tilt down here, what it's going to do, if I want a bit, I've done my EQ, but I need to compensate with a bit more of low and tilt, get more low end and less high end, I can just tilt it. So the EQ spectrum will just tilt to have some low end bias. If I want bite, you can see there. So without having to EQ, I just did a cut and I'm getting something close to what I want. All right. Now, you can see that my signal level is still in green. I've soloed, and I just did a minus 1.9 dB cut. All right? Okay, so the next thing I'll do here, that carton light, yeah, you hear that? Around 300 hertz. I did a 3 dB cut. And then do another cut in the mid-frequency, mid-section. And shift it closer to 500 hertz. Now, what I'll do next is to now move my EQ and my compressor. My gate will be the last. Okay, so let's see how it sounds. Let's work around it and see how it will react. My EQ, my compressor, and gate. Oh, gate, you come there. Aha. So what I'm going to use is this simple Behringer wing compressor, and I'm going on hard knee about 40, no hold, release of about 70, 80, and bring it down some more, 5 dB gain reduction, or 3, and then makeup gain of 3 dB. Good. So the next thing is to get my gate in place and just have a sharp gate. Hold about maybe 40 milliseconds. 260 release, but I might increase my release a bit. Now for the wing, you have something called accent. It just gives a bit of texture to your gate. Okay. Yeah, for some of you I know that likes low end punch, you can come to your low end and boost 60 hertz. So let's change our, for the purpose of those who, yeah. And increase our range or decrease our range. Yeah. So let's add our snare and see. Okay, there's our kick in and kick out. So let's work with the bite. But I'm going to work with only one because there are many people who may not have kick in and kick out. Another video will carry that. Okay. We can hear. Now you can see that there's a lot of bias in the mid frequency, high frequency area. There's nothing in the low frequency area. So this is going to cause a little bit of problem when it comes to the punch on the kick or at the snare. So what do? There's nothing here. So we're going to leave it at 160, all right? And then make sure you put your EQ on, it's there. Now there's this mid frequency, high mid sound, gung, you know. Yeah, I want my snare, yeah, you know, not there. I don't want that. That's around 2K. I narrow it. Yeah. So the next thing I come to is my mid frequency, like an O cup. .500 hertz. And move it closer to 1K. Okay. So let's work around here. There's still a frequency I'm hearing around here. Yeah. And then do a high shelf. Okay, so coming home now, I need to boost around my 200 hertz to give it body. Okay, and then set my gate. Good. The snare sounds good, so we just need something to reinforce it. And then I'm going to use the compressor. Yeah. So all I would do is to just have my maker gain. So let's go a bit soft on the compressor a bit. increase our attack, our release. Fantastic. So if I want to be creative with my snare, yeah. Yeah. So you can see how the snare sounds nice. For those of you that like bite, you could increase your 3K. But then let's remove our tilt and bring our 3K up. Reduce this. But then have a little bit of adjustment in the low frequency area. Yeah, 200. Okay. Okay, so we have our snare and our key. So let's come to our hi-hats. So we have our hi-hats. We'll just have to get to a point where our hi-hats is where our hi-hats. Let's see where we have our hi-hats working. Okay. So what I do with my hi-hats, all I do is my low cut, all right? Okay, and then I boost, in some cases, depending on the genre of music, I could boost up my 5K. Yeah. All right. And then in some cases, based on the drummer, you could have some drummers that are very rough. Sorry to say that, drummers. Just a little bit of attack, a little bit of fast released, no hold, soft knee. All right. Okay, and then I'll just place it somewhere, narrow the space, the spread. So for my snare, I need a bit more bite. So I move the frequency down to 2K and work with my compressor till I hear that snap. And bring my release down to about 100 hertz or 105. Yeah. Fantastic. So our hi-hats. So let's add our overhead. So let's see our face. Yeah. We don't want the snare sound like it's filled. So we inverted the phase because that meant the microphone recording the snare mic and one of the overheads they were at parallel, so one was canceling the other. Now, if you see, I have not redone any cut, so I'll just do a bit of a cut here of 150 hertz on my overhead. The mid area around the 800 hertz. Fantastic. And I'm going to leave it like that. And just widen the spread. So let's get to our bass. Now, in the case of the bass here, I like how the bass sound. So all I'm going to do with the bass is compress it and do a high cut. All right, but I'll look at the spectrum first. So I'm going to move my bass compressor to the top and then EQ before gating. And just bring my threshold down till I have like 2 dB gain reduction, soft knee of 1, attack 27, hold 5 millisecond, and my release, slow release. Lovely. So let's have a 1 dB maker gain. So let's work on our bass now. I'm going to do a low pass filter of up to 4K. And then I'm going to boost up my 200 hertz to give us that airiness, but do a cut slightly around the 300 hertz. To create an artificial clarity, like an enhancement in my 200 hertz area. Now, do I need a gate for the bass? Well, sometimes you do because of the line. So let's see how it sits with the I think it sounds great. It sounds great. It sounds nice. So let's bring in our guitar, but this time around our guitar is hot, so I'm bringing it down. I'm just going to bring down the level. If it sounds great, you don't change it. So I'm going to leave the guitar flat, but I'm going to put a compressor at the end just so that the compressor controls it. I'm leaving it a ratio of 3.1 ratio, 3 on the knee. I'll reduce my attack a bit to 11 and increase my release. So let's take it again. So let's bring up our makeup gain. Good. So let's add our keyboard. Our montage seems to be panned somewhere else. Okay, stereo, but we are having imbalance in the level. We're having a bit of good, yeah. Okay, that's our keyboard. So I'm going to leave my keyboard and just do a low cut, mild low cut on my keyboard. All right, 60 Hz. Now, someone asked me about compressing keys. Now, the keyboard is how do I call it now? The keyboard is a synthesizer, right? So all the tones are processed. You are not processing the tone. You are processing it, so it's static. But when you play, when the keyboardist now plays the keyboard becomes a dynamic tool because the keyboardist is a dynamic player. So his different levels of emotions is going to come to play. So what we're going to do is to just bring down our keyboard. Bring it down a bit. So what I'm going to do is to compress the keys after EQing. Just set it to limited, more or less, soft limiting. Till I get 1 or 2 dB gain reduction. And my attack is very slow, no hold. My release is slightly fast, 55 milliseconds. And then I just have 0.5 makeup gain. Fantastic. So let's add the second keyboard. Pad or the strings. Now this, all I'm going to do is to set a compressor there, that's all. And the compressor will be 5.1. And just have little gain reduction. Slow release, fast release. Okay, so let's see whether we are on mid-side. Yeah, we are on mid-side. Let's bring up our lead guitar a little bit. And our bass makeup gain. So let me play it again. Let's see, hear how it sounds. So let's listen to it and hear how it sounds, and we'll come back. Now there's your basic mix, just your basic mix, all right? So you can feel the stereo imagery already. You understand? You can hear everything, the balance. The Son of God be lifted high. So let's try our vocals and see how. Let's start it again and try with those vocals we mixed up, yeah? and see how they fit in. So I'm going to release this for my snare. You know, it's creating the atmosphere. And funny enough, I could decide to add a bit of reverb. I could decide to add a bit of reverb on my keyboard. Yes, I could. So your sound is calm. Everything has their place. You can hear the vocals, the backups. Let's add our lead.
This one you are lifted high. Yeah. Oh. Your name is Jesus.
So you see, everything have their place. Everything have their place. And okay, sorry, that glitch was in the record. Now we've not added our toms. We've not added our toms. Let's go to our toms and work on our toms, all right? And then we can now come back to fine tune. So once you get your elements sounding great, you set the levels, your preamp gain first. Get a good preamp gain for every signal source. Then you get your mix to sound great. What you do is level balance is key, all right? So if you remember, I did it the other way around. It's quite difficult and complex to set level balance before you do all those things. But as you develop, you get to know that. So I set level balance, everything here, you know, at 0 dB, okay, on the faders. And then I worked with my levels. So fundamentally, I had to get my mix to sound clean enough to come out with the fundamental tones and then bring out the beauty. So the effect is just meant to bring wetness, create space. All right. So once you're setting your effect parameter, I could decide to create more space with my effect. All right. I could decide, look, let me make it extra wild and go a bit alive or go, you know, natural. Okay. And then we'll see that later. So let's come to the toms, because I always love the toms in the mix. All right. For me, the toms, it's my bag of juice. All right. So we're going to look for our toms. Our hi-hats was a bit low. If you're gaining anything, could you just drop me a message on the chat room? And if you have any questions while we are while we're going, I'll just respond to it. Or if you have a question you don't want to drop on the group, just drop it on my WhatsApp. It's +234 805 355 1699, and we'll respond accordingly. So let's get to the toms. Let's see how we can get the toms here. We are almost done.
One more time. Oh, hey, hey, oh.
So let's mute everything.
Jesus.
And let's come to our toms. So I'll start with my flow tom. And I'm listening. I can see the fundamentals. The first thing I'll do is clean up